Welcome back. Today we are going to deal with a new module, that is fund flow statement and cash flow statement. In this subject, accounting for management, we are studying in detail that part of accounting that helps the management in taking decisions. So as a part of accounting or analysis of statements, the management accountant has to study in detail the financial statements. For that, the particular person will analyze the financial statement using different tools. And we have dealt with different tools till now, and another set of tools that are used by a management accountant for analysis is fund flow statement as well as cash flow statement. These two statements are very important from the management accounting point of view, and we study in detail the two statements separately in detail. Even though the concept remains the same, there are some differences and peculiar computations that has to be followed in case of fund flow statement as well as cash flow statement. So, first of all, we deal with fund flow statement. We all know that every organization maintains or prepare final accounts for analyzing or understanding the profitability as well as position of the business. The balance sheet is often stated as a static statement since it discloses the financial position of the business. At the end of the accounting period, but the management is interested in ascertaining the changes in the financial position that have taken place during the accounting period. A comparative balance sheet may disclose the net changes in assets and liabilities, but the nature and the reason for changes are not explained. That is the main issue pertaining to final accounts, because we all know in final account we are preparing trading profit and loss account and balance sheet. From that you can understand or identify the profits earned by the business during that particular period as well as the position of the business on the base of balance sheet. But it doesn't depict or explain what are the changes that happened during the period with regard to expenses or income that led to increase in profit or losses. And at the same time, balance sheet depicts only the position. It doesn't give any glimpse into the reason for changes in particular assets or liabilities of the concern during the particular period. That is an issue that pertains with the final accounts. And the top level management need the reasons for change during the period, because definitely there will be a change during an accounting period or during a financial year, and the statement only depict the results. It doesn't give a glimpse into the changes or reasons in various items and what are the reasons for those changes. So various additional statements are prepared along with profit and loss account and balance sheet to disclose the changes in assets, liabilities and owner's equity. These are called statement of changes in financial position. These include financial statement and mainly fund flow statement and cash flow statement. And what is the difference between fund flow statement and cash flow statement? As the name suggests, fund flow statement is used to study the flow of fund and cash flow statement is used to study flow of cash. But that doesn't mean or that doesn't give a correct explanation or need or meaning of that particular statements. In fund flow statement, we study the change in working capital of an organization. That is why we are using the term fund. Fund represent cash, cash equivalents, and all sorts of current assets and current liabilities, which can be generally said that It studies change in working capital of an organization. So working fund flow statement is used to study the working capital position or it is a working capital basis statement. Whereas cash flow statement, as the name suggests, it solely study the change in cash or what is the flow of cash within the organization, what are the various inflows and what are the various outflows, and what are the reasons for those inflows and flows that and outflows. That are the various factors that we will study under cash flow statement. From now on, we will discuss in detail the fund flow statement, and after dealing with fund flow statement, we will discuss in detail cash flow. So, fund flow statement. So, before we go into fund flow statement, you need to understand the term fund. The term fund is interpreted in different ways. In a narrow sense, it means cash. This interpretation is not used commonly since we are preparing another statement called cash flow statement, as I have mentioned earlier. In a broader sense, fund is interpreted as capital or financial resources. This interpretation is also not commonly used in accounting practice, but fund is commonly used in its popular sense as working capital. That term has been mentioned previously, or net current assets. Another term of working capital, net current assets. Thus, for accounting purpose and for the preparation of fund flow statement, the term fund means working capital or excess of current assets over current liability. We all know that equation, current assets over current liabilities. Next, meaning of the term flow. Simple meaning, the flow means change or movement. A financial statement may be a static statement or flow statement. A static statement like the profit and loss account and balance sheet, that statement's balance sheet is a static statement. A static statement shows position at a particular date or moment of time. Balance sheet is an example of static statement. A flow statement discloses the change in balance sheet items between two balance sheet dates. So remember, under fund flow statement, you will be given two balance sheet of a concern, because we in fund flow statement we are studying the change and the reasons for change. So for analyzing or studying change, we need to compare the amount of a particular item relating to two periods. Two period means two accounting periods. Then only you can identify change. So in fund flow statement, you will come across balance sheets of two dates. Remember, you will be given two balance sheets. A fund flow statement discloses change in the balance sheet item between two balance sheet dates. It is prepared for the accounting year. Profit and loss account, fund flow statement, and cash flow statements are flow statement, examples of flow statements. And flow in simple words means inflow as well as outflow. Inflow means inflow of funds and outflow of funds. And fund flow statement study in detail what are the various inflows as well as outflows of fund, and what are the reasons for those inflows as well as outflows. Next, fund flow statement. As the term suggests, fund flow statement is a combination of different computations. We will discuss in detail what are the various computations. In simple terms, fund flow statement means various inflows, means otherwise we will say sources, and various outflows, that is applications. That is, what are sources from which we got funds and what are the various purposes for which we have used those funds. That is known as sources and application. Fund flow statement in simple words means source and application of funds. And thus, a fund flow statement is defined as a statement which explains reasons for changing net working capital. As I had mentioned earlier, it is a working capital basis analysis between two balance sheet dates. It discloses the sources and application of working capital during the year. As that's mentioned earlier, and the net change in the working capital at the end of the accounting year is analyzed. Fund flow statement finds the answers to many questions like how much fund are received and from which source, how much funds are used for acquiring assets, how much is paid as dividend, how much is paid as income tax, how much is paid as interest on capital, what is the depreciation made, what are the interest and commissions paid. All these items are dealt and studied in detail and how these items affects the flow of fund within the organization. Therefore, the statement is also known by other names like statement of sources and application of funds, where gone statements, or it can be said as statement of changes in financial position, or statement of sources and uses of fund. There are different terms that are used in the place of fund flow statement, but we use fund flow statement as well as sources and application of fund. These are the terms which are used synonymously, but you have to be familiarized with all these terms because sometimes you may come across one word questions where you are asked to give the other names of statements, fund flow statements. So, as I have mentioned earlier, fund flow statement forms a part of financial statement but not legally compulsory. Remember, fund flow statement is not statutory. That is, you are not legally bound or compulsory to prepare a fund flow statement. It is solely up to the discretion of the top level or the top management to prepare a fund flow statement. Remember, in this module, we are studying fund flow statement and cash flow statement. Fund flow statement is not statutory, but cash flow statement is statutory. That is legally required. Every organization has to be are legally bound to prepare cash flow statement. We will deal cash flow statement at the time. In the meantime, just go through all these concepts. And fund flow statement is not legally compulsory or non-statutory. Why? This is because the balance sheet is prepared almost on the same lines of fund flow statement, showing sources and application of funds and on a comparative basis. That is why a fund flow statement is not legally compulsory because it is prepared just like the balance sheet. The only thing is that balance sheet depicts an item that is appearing at the end of the financial year, whereas a fund flow statement showing the reason for that particular item, change of that particular item during that accounting period. That is the concept of fund flow statement. We will discuss further in detail. We have to discuss a lot under fund flow statement before we go into computation part or problem areas. You have to go through different theory aspects. Then only you will have to dealt with problems. So that's all for today. Just go through all these aspects and theory. We will discuss further theoretical aspect that comes under fund flow statement. Thank you.